Boom! Greetings and salutations. Somehow it's Friday, which means...
I cannot believe at that split second you click go live. That's the time I decide to sneeze.
I know, we've been chatting for like 10 minutes, everything good, and suddenly you start sneezing.
I'm so sorry. Anyway.
Now, your top, do you have a matching sack which says the word swag on the side?
No, this is what I call my zebra crossing top.
Okay. That's the most casual.
It's the hope that people don't walk all over me.
Yay! It's the most casual I've ever seen you. Today's T-shirt is, you see, weapons of mass percussion. You see?
Love it.
Weapons of mass percussion. It's hilarious. Speaking of Dick Cheney, which we weren't. First of all, most importantly, how are you?
Oh, how kind is
my old chum, Philip? I live in Hertfordshire.
I am, yes, I'm in reasonable fettle, thank you. I was trying to spend a lot of this week sorting out a lot of grown-up type stuff, you know,
it's ridiculous at your age.
One has to... No, I know, but...
You've got years ahead of you. I'm not even troubling. I'm going to wait till I'm past 50, then I'll think about it.
Oh, I don't know. Just a lot of grown-up stuff, and so much as that's trying to sort standing orders, direct debits, and all of that hoo-ha.
Quick question. Do you do standing orders? Or these days do you think, no, sod it, they're just going to absolutely rinse me. I'll pay when the bill comes through. A lot of people doing that.
I don't know. I'm trying direct debit for now, but if it does work out pricey, I will just stop it and then pay as and when.
Because they just take what they want. And I think people are saying...
Well, the thing is, I've done it, if I say so myself, in quite a clever way. No. I've actually created a new account, right? I've got a new current account that is purely for direct debits. So every single thing...
Limited? It's Phil Dave Cayman Islands Limited.
Absolutely. Every single payment that leaves that account is purely for bills. So I can monitor it very, very carefully. Normally, obviously, people go through their normal account, their standard current account, and they have to filter through everything. So I won't be doing that. I've got a dedicated account, one that I can keep a very beady eye on. The second they start taking more money than they need to.
I've never thought of anything so grown up.
Thanks.
Is your banking, because this is all grown up stuff, but it's bloody boring, but I suppose it has to be done. The banking is it all online? Did you ever go to a bank?
It is online now. It's not by choice. Believe me, I would far rather go into a branch, but alas, they seem to have all disappeared.
You're using a technical term. Go into the bank. Did you say ranch? Into the bank ranch? Is there like...
It's a nice thought, isn't it?
They don't want any branches. They don't want any branches open. My nearest bank branch, and I'm not joking, I've got to get a bus and a tube to get there. So much for having a bank on the high street. They've closed them all. They're all closed around me. All of them. All gone. It's an absolute...
It's absolutely ridiculous. You just think how much more money they are making out of it now that they've got rid of all the stuff and all the branches. And it's just terrible.
Yeah, my bank decided to get really clever and really technical, and they went very, very digital. And it was an absolute cluster, you know what. Rhymes with duck, and it was diabolical.
Truck,
a cluster truck. That's it.
Yeah,
it was absolute mess. In fact, then the CEO had to write to everyone, I'm so sorry you've been inconvenienced, but here's some extra points.
No, he's not. No, they are not. They are not in the least bit sorry you're inconvenienced. Do me a favor.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Hello, Robert Van Buren, and hello, Emma Webb. Are all our things working? Yes, everything's working perfectly today. This is good. Great fun in Wisconsin. Wisconsin, as you pronounce it. You know, I'm obsessed with American politics. I don't actually follow UK politics because it's rubbish. And over there in Wisconsin, they had an election, and it's a real farmer's state. It's one of the flyover states. You know, everyone wears Stetson hats, and your nearest neighbor's a cow. And
I know the feeling.
Hey, making friends wherever you go. And the incumbent Republican was Liz Cheney. And if the name Cheney rings a bell, it's because she was the daughter
Of
of
Dick?
the ghastly Dick Cheney, the
Good
man
Lord.
who's made billions out of wars and arms sales and God knows what. Just
Wow.
awful, just dreadful. And so she was the daughter, which she's obviously traded on, and she was the and her entire
No, come on now. Don't be cynical. There's no such thing as nepotism.
You're right. Stupid me that her father actually run the United States of America, and she thought she could do the same. Anyway, her whole platform was just, I hate Trump, I hate Trump, Trump's awful, Trump's the worst man since the history of the world. She's completely delusional. And of course, all the voters said, well, what about us? All you're doing is making this a personal vendetta, which is a major mistake in business. Never make it personal, as Michael Corleone said. And she got absolutely cream crackered by somebody else, by a lady, a politician out there, and she's booted out. She's lost the job. And of course, everyone's going, good, cheerio, because all she did was say how much she hated Trump. Then she likens herself to Abraham Lincoln. I mean,
What,
the
dead?
ego, there was a great comment. I watch a lot of the American shows, and it was a great comment. Well, she does have something in common with Abraham Lincoln. Neither of them are going to be president anytime soon, which I thought was on Gutfield, which is an interesting show. I think you'd quite like Gutfield. He takes being obnoxious to a new level, but he knows it. He knows.
Well, as you know me, I'm not in the least bit obnoxious.
I know that, but I could see
stand
you and
anything
Gutfield actually getting on. Luke Newman, would you care to read this? Hang on. There we go.
Why not, indeed?
Our
Luke Newman
friends at
says,
Deluxe Radio.
well, quite. Luke Newman says, good afternoon, you beautiful human beings on this glorious Friday. I'm looking forward to a 12-mile walk at the weekend as part of the For Men to Talk walking marathon training. Ready for the big day on 2nd of October. Well, Luke, you are considerably more ready than I am for the challenge that lies ahead for me.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in just a second. Sam Monroe, what do we got? Oh, for God's sake. Good morning, folks.
Good morning, folks. And then someone says, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes from the Costa del Sol, Michael Verby.
That's Michael Verby.
Who's apparently still staying with his sister, Stacey Verby. He went out, I'm not joking, you probably remember this. He went out to see her for a week. He's never bothered to come back. Seriously. You must have been out there too. How long have you been out there, Michael? 1 year, 2 years? Unbelievable. Right. One of the two.
Maybe he missed his flight.
I never thought about that. You're right. One of the two of us is climbing. I can't believe I'm saying this. Climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It's not me, which by process of elimination means it's you. How's the training going, Phil Dave in Hertfordshire?
Well, as you may or may not have known, I enlisted the services of a personal trainer because I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself to be that fit and ready to do
Vanessa
such a
Phelps
task.
is training you.
No.
Okay.
And what happened was, I'm saying nothing.
Imagine.
Can you imagine that, please?
I
Anyway.
can, and I'm already dying from it.
Unbelievable. Anyway, determined to get me into trouble. What's the matter with you? Anyway,
Okay.
so what happened was I enlisted the services of a personal trainer who is, I'm absolutely convinced, was a butcher in a former life. I don't care what anyone says. Brutal. Lovely, lovely person, but absolutely brutal. Anywho, what happened is that she has been creating this program for me of sort of various things I have to do in order to ensure that I should be as fit as I am able to be come the climb, which is in it's less than a month. It's pretty much 3 weeks from today.
What?
Yes, pretty much. So,
Phil, you've done nothing. You're climbing Mount Phillip. You can't even get around the aisle in Costco without pausing.
Hang on, you haven't said I've done nothing. I've actually been training quite well. Actually, I've been doing. I have to tell you that the training that I have been doing has definitely helped, because silly things like, for example, when I climb the escalator on the underground, I definitely don't feel as breathless as I did when I do that. So it's definitely helping.
And the good thing is, on Mount Kilimanjaro, and I forgot to mention this,
there's no escalator.
No, they have installed an escalator. Just stand there. Yeah, stand on the right, because there'd be idiots rushing past you on the left.
Yeah, totally.
It's important to do.
Well, I'm one of those idiots. You see, I was the one who sort of rushed past on the left. And
yeah. So this is hardly stereotypical. Phil, with that top, all you need is a string of onions, a beret, and no bicycle and a dodgy French accent.
Sen Monroe, what a suggestion.
And you can
As
do
you
the
well
voice
know,
of
my top is not inspired by a French person because I would never do something so stupid.
precisely.
My top is inspired by a sailor. But anyway,
Anyone we know? We're still
I
seeing him?
don't know.
How's it going? So
Could
anyway,
be a bit
are you
Gene. It's a
serious?
bit Jane Kelly, couldn't it?
Do you know what it is when he's dancing with the mouse? Is he dancing with
Yes.
Jerry?
No, dance. No. Yeah, Jerry with Tom and Jerry. That's the one. Absolutely.
It's a fabulous sequence.
Mm.
Fabulous. If you look it up on YouTube. What have we got from Luke Newman? Getting back to why we started this show anyway.
The improvement. Sorry, small lettering. The improvement in the mental health of the 8 for Men to Talk attendees who are training for walking the marathon has been incredible to witness. Oh, good work.
That's very good. That's really very. So today on Twitter, there's someone I've been in contact with probably 3 years now, and they were going to do their own show and everything. Sen, stop it! You're running out of sailors' gags, and I see that there's suddenly another mental health station with them saying, "Come and talk to me," and I went, "Oh well," I said, "I suppose Howard." And I replied, "I suppose Howard Jameson and I should be very, very flattered." What can you do? What can you do? Michael Burby from the south of Spain. Can you imagine what the woman? I don't think I should read that. People on Deluxe Radio need to know, though.
Michael Verby, come on.
Can you imagine what the Women to Talk marathon would be like? What's the matter with my throat today?
I think there's something in the air. I've kept clearing my throat as well. Can you imagine what the Women to Talk marathon would be like, says Michael Verby? 26 miles would not be enough. I've been here 14 months, he says.
14 months. Did your sister Stacey know you just said, I'm popping out? Because I remember the message, just popping out to see my sister. 14 months later, you're still there. Did you bring spare underwear? I mean, how does it work? Okay. Your flat is looking very, very nice.
Thank you.
Looking really, really very chic, as we would expect from the chic geek.
You're very kind. Thank you. I'm trying.
It's absolutely
trying
great.
to
So
get.
I did something yesterday that I've always wanted to do, and I got very nervous about it. As it happens, I'll be quite frank.
Did you broadcast on radio?
I did actually on the ABC of CBD with the great Ollie.
Thank you, Sam.
Great Ollie Mammon. Which is a good show. No, you know those shows when celebrities go mad or when holidays go wrong.
I saw that. You were one of the commentators, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm one of the people. So it's
love it. So which show was this for?
This is what's it going to be called? Traffic Jam Nightmares.
Brilliant.
And I filmed it. I've always wanted to do this, and I've known the producer for years and years and years. I said, and he said, I tell you what, I promise you, I'll get you on the next one because it's about blooming time. He's done 35 of these, by the way. 35.
Well, you've got to give these things time, clearly.
Yeah, you don't want to rush. And he started off with the great Dennis Norton, one of my all-time broadcasting, and especially a brilliant comedy writer. I mean, Frank Muir and Dennis Norton, sublime, absolutely sublime.
Do you know when someone is buried, and they often say that someone who has, some sort of thing associated with them, they bury it with them. Do you think that Dennis Norton was buried with a clipboard?
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly so. You did this. Right, Michael Verby from Spain. She thought I said I'd be staying for 14 days. You said you were staying for 14 days. 14 months later, the bloke's still there. She's got no life, poor woman. Have you got a washing up machine or a dishwasher? Have you got anything like that? It doesn't matter. So anyway, I always wanted to do this because it always looks so fun. And I always watch those shows on Channel 5. I think it's the only thing I do watch on Channel 5. Normally they're like 3 hours long or so. This is going to be an hour and a half show. And I had so much fun. It was great, but I had to do.
It was all done in front of a green screen, wasn't it?
It is, but I don't see anything. I have no idea what's going to be projected behind me. But I had to do tons of work beforehand because there's something like 20 plus different scenarios, and I had to learn all of them and then review all of the video clips in advance.
Yeah, I was going to ask about how that all works, because one would assume you obviously don't watch it live. You have to watch it beforehand. Yeah,
I watch everything. So they were really efficient. I mean, a really fantastic paperwork. They were very, very friendly, and my thanks to Simon Withington and all the gang there. And And it's in a tiny studio. It's really funny because the show is huge. It's a massive ratings winner for Channel 5. It's huge. It's actually beating ITV and the other shows that come on at 8 o'clock, which is interesting. It's a tiny studio, but the show looks enormous, which is the joy of technology. So the way that it works is they send me reams of paperwork, obviously online, and then I read up every single case and try and remember all the names and what happened and the situation, how it was resolved or not. And then I watch dozens of reels. I've got all the links, and then I have to memorize everything. And then we sit down, and then they fire questions at me. So I'm looking off camera. I absolutely loved it. It was huge fun. Huge fun. Sam Monroe brought up a lovely memory. Frank Muir, was it Ask the Family? No, it wasn't Ask the Family. It was something else.
Call My Bluff.
Call My Bluff. That's what it was. It was Call My Bluff. Yeah. Call My Bluff. Oh, that was it. That was Frank Muir, and Dennis Norton. Right. It was such urbane and charming television. Do you think those days are never going to come back, are they? You know, you got Keith Lemon at one end. Oh, Jesus. And then you've got the urbane Frank Muir, Dennis Norton, and really hilarious, charming. That's the word.
Mm.
Do you find anything charming anymore?
No,
Or just feeling
because charm
nostalgic?
is not important anymore. You see, people are much more interested in shock factor and just getting a quick, I suppose, like a quick hit almost, as it were. So, like whether it's a quick laugh, whether it's a quick shock, quick cry. Because I was thinking of watching reruns, or I saw a rerun of On the Buses, and I just thought everything about On the Buses was just meant to be really innocently funny.
Yeah.
You know, there was a little bit of sort of cheek underlying,
Yeah.
but you knew that they were just pushing the boundaries of what was the limit in those days.
Yeah.
And now,
it's interesting. I think the only sitcom that I've enjoyed is oh my God, what's it called? Not Going Out. Was it Not Going Out with Lee Mack?
Oh yeah, Not Going Out.
And
Yeah,
Tim Vine.
Yeah,
I find that funny because
my mother loves that. I've never
funny,
really got it.
They're funny gags. I mean, Lee Mack's terrific stand-up. He's really very good. And he's a genuinely very funny man. He's just got funny bones, and he's very, very quick. Yes, Ask the Family was with Robin Roberts. Yeah, but Ask the Family was a radio show. Bloody hell, we got on to Clitheroe Kid in a minute. Ask the Family was with Robert Robinson.
You'll be talking about Listen with Mother before long. Available soon on the home service.
Happy memories when I was a tiny tot. And your mother, yes, well said, Linda. I've rented out my son's room immediately, Dave. Lee Mack is a genius. Lee Mack is really fantastic. He's very good. Who makes you laugh? Phil Dave. And don't say your mum.
Am I allowed to say someone who's from the past, or does it have to be living?
Say whatever you like. Who makes you laugh? What do you watch when you're feeling a bit down that you think, I'm going to cheer myself up and watch this?
No one better. Bob Monkhouse. Anything he touched was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Because it wasn't just comedy. It was intellectual comedy. And that's what makes it just genius. Never ever seen anything like him. Never will do again.
You know, I saw him do a stand-up in a very small venue. Did you know that?
I think you did mention, yeah.
It was a charity night. It was very late on a Sunday night. And it was in a small place, some charity. And he came on and did and the gags were brilliant because it was all breaking news on that Sunday. So it was everything was fresh. And I was sitting with someone who thought he was a sort of funny fellow. Trust me, he really wasn't. And he was trying to write all the gags down, which I think is just awful. I think that's a really shit thing to do, but he's trying to write them down. And Bob Monkhouse was so fast, he gave up, I didn't say anything to the guy because he's sitting at my table and I thought, yeah, let's not start a row. What's the point? Can't be bothered. But that's how fast he was. God, he was good. God,
incredible.
What have we got
just
from
absolutely incredible.
The difference with TV of old is that it was titillation and suggestion. Postcards, those Eric Gill postcards from the seaside and all of that. So
I'll tell you who else I found absolutely hilarious. Is Les Dawson.
Oh, Les Dawson's marvellous. Now, John Colshaw, who's a lovely, lovely fellow. John Culshaw is doing his one-man tribute, and the makeup and everything, he looks just like Les Dawson. And John Culshaw is a brilliant impressionist. You must know his work. He's fantastic.
The thing I think it's so amazing about someone like Les Dawson, right? And this goes to show that not all reality shows are bad, because that's where didn't he go through Opportunity Knocks or something, did he?
I've absolutely no idea.
I think he did.
Oh,
also, my mother's chimed in with Ken Dodd and Tommy Cooper.
No, you see, Ken Dodd, no. I know everyone says...
Oh, I like Ken Dodd.
I mean, a few minutes of Ken Dodd is enough for me. Tommy Cooper I adored. And when I tried to show Tommy Cooper to one of the twins about 3 years ago, he stood there completely stony-faced, and he just said, which is the most damning sentence I can recall, "Well, I guess it was of its time." And he walked out the room. I thought he'd find it funny.
But that's the truth of it, unfortunately, is that comedy has changed since those
funny
days.
Is funny. Well, why do people don't say that about Charlie Chaplin? Although I can't stand Charlie Chaplin. I know that is absolute blasphemy.
But I would say they do say about it, because I don't think people find that sort of slapstick that funny anymore. People want that, as I say, they're sort of there. I suppose it's a little bit like saying that paracetamol was the answer to headaches before Nurofen was, or ibuprofen was invented, if you see what I mean. It boils down to, if something is stronger or gives a better result, people are going to go for the I guess the higher hits, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean? It's like
but if you have generational changes, which you do, and it's progress and it happens, or it's evolution, you can't fight it. We can't pretend it's the 1950s. It is what it is, and you got to cope with it. This is interesting.
I suppose in a really sort of bizarre way of looking at it is that if you think of what people are like now when it comes to what constitutes as a bit edgy, a bit racy, back in the days of sort of when the Carry On films, it was Barbara Windsor with her low-flying bikini top. Now, I mean, they wouldn't even dream of sort of cropping out what happened to Barbara Windsor. Do you know what I mean? It's just that the boundaries of what becomes acceptable and expected has totally changed the ability to find something either funny or stimulating. Same kind of premise, I suppose, with ordering online. It wasn't that long ago. Ordering online, you'd be prepared to wait a few days for it. Now, if it's not the next day, you get grumpy about it.
So the lovely Leslie Demisa, hello. She's in the Cotswolds, which is odd. I'm meant to be seeing her for lunch. I'm not. I'm just doing that so she panics. She says the signal isn't helping, but even in the depths of the Cotswolds, she is trying to listen to the show. Elizabeth Green is not in New York City, Manhattan. She's in Turkey. Hey, still in Turkey. Greetings. Drinking juice for 2 weeks. Good luck with that. God almighty. Yes.
No wonder you had to go to Turkey. You probably didn't want the risk of plumbing.
Well, for flooding. Yeah, no, stop it.
What?
Elizabeth, I don't want to be rude. There's nothing of you. I've met you twice for a cup of coffee when you've been visiting London. There's nothing of you. You're like a sort of pencil, if I may say so. Now you're drinking juice for 2. What the hell for? I've given all that stuff. I've given it up. Life's too short. I have not got the patience, and I don't care. They thought Benny Hill was satire. And interestingly, on YouTube, you can watch Benny Hill anytime. There's loads of Benny Hill clips on YouTube. I mean, hundreds. I can't watch it anymore. I used to love it. I used to sit there with my dad, and the pair of us would roar with laughter. And I have to say, I watch it now, and it has not stood the test of time at all. It's really, and I'm not being a prude. It's just I don't find it funny at all, at all. And I loved Benny Hill. I was a huge Benny Hill fan, and I would defend what he did forever. But when I watch it now, I just cannot do it. What have we got here? It's Elizabeth Green saying it's lovely there in Turkey, and she does it for well-being. I find a couple of shots of Jack Daniels does that for me.
Really?
From the comfort of my own living room.
For the southern comfort of your own living room?
No, I don't like southern comfort.
I love the way that you like Jack Daniels, though.
Oh, I love Jack Daniels.
Mind you, actually, I suppose, you like sort of sweeter whiskies, actually. I suppose that makes sense.
Like it. You like, if I got paint stripper and put it into a fancy bottle with a nice label, you go, this is fabulous for us. Look at that, darling, believe me, even knowing you're waiting for me in London, I'm hoping the next word is moist, but it may not be. Anyway,
Good Lord.
40 towers, it's a joke between Leslie and I. There's certain words which are completely innocent, and yet have just make us laugh. And the word that makes Leslie Demeter and I laugh when we're on the phone is moist for absolutely no reason, just makes us laugh. 40 Towers is fantastic, timeless. You got a 2-hour Brian Ricks farce in 27 minutes. It's just fantastic writing. Oh, it's wonderful. 40 Towers, absolutely bloody wonderful.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I like the Gary Shandling shows when he was a talk show host. That was my favorite. And people say, what's your favorite sitcom of all time? And it was when Gary Shandling played a talk show host, and the blurred line between what was real and what wasn't real is incredible. It was so brilliantly done. What do we got? I once temped for Brian Ricks. Blimey. Is that hilarious? That's hilarious. What do we got? I'm not rushing back. Oh, okay. Well, it'll be like that. Oh, God. Oh, Benny Hill. Yeah. Charlie Drake. Never found Charlie Drake funny. Ever. He did not. I'm going to say this because Dad supplied the timbers to all the film and television studios. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And reputation is everything. And Charlie Drake, the private Charlie Drake compared to the public, they weren't the same. I'm going to leave it at that. He's dead. It's not fair. I'm not going to say anymore. He's dead. He's not here to defend himself, and I don't want to get into it. But
if he's not here to defend himself, then because he's dead, I'd say technically speaking.
No, I'm not going to do it because his son is on Facebook.
Oh dear.
What does Sen say?
Sen is giving himself a plug. He says,
how unlike Sen to do.
Sen says, doing stand-up myself now and writing my own gags.
Yeah.
Good Lord, Sen. Don't know why he didn't tell us that sooner. Has shown me that to write something original isn't that easy.
No, yeah.
And you're right, it's true. However, he says when you do write something and you try it out and an audience, they laugh, the validation is fantastic. You want more of that natural high. Absolutely.
Sen, be very careful with that. We've talked about this a lot. It's a job. I'm serious. And Sen doesn't mind. I can talk to him like this. It's a job. If you start seeking that validation, it's the road to hell. Don't do it because you enjoy it. But I do my shows and I walk off and boom, the curtain comes down and I switch completely off. I don't seek that ever because I think it's very dangerous.
Well, quite. Speaking of very dangerous.
Speaking of dangerous and someone we always validate, that didn't even make sense, but it sounded quite good.
Chantal Records.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Well, we are all the better for you being here.
All the better for you arriving. A rose between two fairly grim thorns.
It's true.
I found two shows. One was recommended to me by a close friend, and the other I happened to find. And I meant to email them to you, Chantas, but I forgot, to be honest. I've been a bit
And
occupied.
what are they?
Unbelievable.
God, don't tell me it's gone out of my head. Right. There was a radio series that was tucked away. Only little 15-minute monologues done by the wonderful Nicola Walker. Nicola Walker, my favorite actress.
Oh, I adore Nicola Walker.
And the series is called Annika Stranded. And she is, in the radio version, works for the Oslo boat police.
I assumed it was something a little bit like sort of a remake of Challenge Annika Stranded somewhere.
Oh, that's very good. Annika Stranded. She's selling all her furniture, Annika Rice. I don't know why that was news. That made the papers. I thought, well, I don't give a monkeys. I'm selling some of my furniture. I'm going to do a press release about it, am I?
No.
Do you want to buy my sofa? Double-page spread in the Daily Mail. Anyhow, Annika Stranded, it's really interesting because she breaks the fourth wall the entire time. And the way the radio series works is the whole story evolves.
Well, isn't that?
Well, now they've made it into a television show. You can find it on Now TV.
Yeah.
It's called Annika. And of course, they've transferred her from Norway. She's now in Scotland, although her parents, the way they've done it, it's not explained, her parents are Norwegian, kind of. And instead of the little boy that she's got from a liaison, she's got a truculent teenage girl who's a pain in the ass. And it's good because she breaks the fourth wall and talks to you the whole. If you're a Nicola Walker fan, and the stories are good and it looks gorgeous because it is set in the wilds of Scotland, you know, with the beautiful back roads and the water. Very nice. And the other show's gone right out of my head. I'll come on to it in a minute.
Ah,
All right.
well,
Over to you.
I was going to say, if you're a major Nicola Walker fan, then you should watch. Actually, the show's created quite a lot of controversy. I wasn't really going to talk about it today, but it's called Marriage. It's on BBC One. It started last week. It's a 4-part drama with Sean Bean. And she and Sean Bean...
As opposed to Sean Bean or Sean Bourne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt Chantal Ricard's OBE, ever.
You can
Hashtag just saying.
Yeah, but don't.
But the two of them are just a middle-aged married couple. Clearly something has happened in the past. There is a child who is no longer there. I won't go on to explain why. But it's created enormous amounts of controversy, if only because the opening title music has driven everybody completely insane.
Oh.
It's a very peculiar show. If you like those two actors, you will love what they do. The high-end newspapers are liking it. The bottom end of the newspaper brigade absolutely loathe it. It is really not for everybody. It's the sort of thing that might get critical acclaim, but I'm just not sure. I watched all 4 episodes because I kept thinking something's going to happen at some stage, and basically nothing happens for 4. But the acting is sort of rather beautiful.
Facebook hated it. So many people on my Facebook have said, and I didn't ask, I didn't know anything about it. And I don't like shows like that because I've got enough aggravation in my life. I don't need to see somebody else's aggravation as my therapy in the evening. And they all said, God, given up, or I couldn't bear it, or this is the most boring thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I didn't choose it because I just didn't think that it really, you know, it was sort of up to the mark, and it wasn't something that I thought I would recommend. But I just, you know, if you do like the actors,
yes. Now, this is the show I was trying to remember. It's called Miss Scarlet and the Duke, which was recommended to me. I can't pretend I found it.
Right.
Tucked away on Now TV, 2 series, set in sort of the 18-something or others in London, and she inherits, I won't bore you with it, her father's detective agency. So she's a female detective called Miss Scarlet. And the Duke is the name of the policeman that she keeps driving mad. The amazing thing about this show, number one, no one's ever heard of it. And number 2, the production values are fantastic. It looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I don't know how they've done it. It looks wonderful. I don't know where it was made. It can't have been made in the UK. It looks, I'm not being rude, but it just looks, they've had so much money thrown at it, and it's all there on the screen, as you would say.
Well,
it's very light. The stories are good. The plots are good. The acting's great, and it looks luscious. So if you just want to chill out, Miss Scarlet and the Duke, and thank you to the recommendation if you're watching You Know Who.
No, I did watch half of the first episode. I didn't, for some reason, I forgot about it, and I didn't go back and pick up from there. But I will, if it's got your recommendation.
No, I like sort of like, I love detectives and whodunit. That's my favorite genre, and this is just very pleasant, and all the characters are nice. She's not annoying. She's quite feisty, but what they haven't done is they haven't said, right, let's take a 2022 feisty woman and shove her back into the 1800s, because it's pants, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
People weren't like that. So there we go.
Oh.
Right, that was that.
Good. Well, excellent. Well, the first thing I was going to talk about was actually a police drama from a sort of noir, if you think of the noir category. This is supposed to be New Zealand noir. I think that's sort of stretching it a bit far, to be honest. But it is actually a rather interesting, intelligently written 6-part drama. And actually, it's three 2-hour blocks.
So Chantal, this New Zealand noir, is it the All Blacks? Thank you. I'm here all week.
Very good. Very funny. No, it's a series called The Gulf. And it's about a policewoman, and right at the beginning, without really telling you what's going on at all, she comes out of a coma. Her husband is dead. They have both been in a car accident. She is a policewoman. There are bits that she can't remember. So the initial story is about her trying to uncover what happened to her and why there was a car accident, which is sort of quite novel, really. But then there is another story that layers in on top of that, which is about a missing child. And the first thing that you see, that a child who they thought had gone missing 5 years earlier as a 7-year-old suddenly turns up. So clearly this child has been held captive for the previous 5 years. So it's unraveling a mystery that's 5 years old at the same time as unraveling her own mystery. She's a rather good actress. I don't know her, a New Zealand actress called Katie Elliott, but it's worth watching. It's on everything. So if you're in it, I mean, I know Elizabeth Green is not in the US this week, but it's on the US version of Netflix. In this country, it's on UK TV Play, it's on UK TV Drama. So you'll get that either on the app or you'll get it through your Sky account or wherever. So it's sort of all over the place. They've made one series, they're now making a second series, and it's definitely worth watching if you like that type of program.
And the name of it again was, for everybody?
The Gulf. It's
The
called
Gulf.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, it was new to me and definitely worth watching if you like that sort of stuff.
Can I make a suggestion? There's one that I've been watching on Netflix that is called, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but there is actually a series of them, but I'm watching this particular one called The Story of Cheese. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but they've got others, that The Story of Chocolate, and I think there's also The Story of something else as well. I don't know where on earth it comes from, but I know it sounds absolutely outrageous and so stupid. Why on earth would anyone watch a program that is dedicated to the creation of cheese? But it's actually really interesting. I know that sounds really shocking, but the thing you have to overlook is the appallingly amateurish presentation. I don't know who the person is who's presenting the documentary, but I kind of need a little bit of guidance, I think, from you, Chantal, on how one actually broadcasts. But if you can overlook that, it's actually quite interesting.
Is it British, Phil?
It's actually international. It's very strange. There's some from Britain. There's some parts of it recorded in France, in Italy, and they all have different correspondents around the world who are actually contributing towards this program. And it's kind of just come together. But yes, it's called The Story of Cheese, and it's on Netflix.
Absolutely fascinating.
As it happens, apart from the very silly title, it's kind of interesting because I've always thought, and I'm not being facetious, I've always thought, who the hell was sitting in their cave and thinking, you know what, if I go up to that cow and play around with it, I could get a drink. How the hell does anybody think that?
Exactly.
Is it not? It's bizarre, isn't it? If you think about it, really, we take it for granted.
Absolutely.
We go into Tesco's, there's a whole aisle of milk, but not back in the day.
Yeah. No,
weird, huh?
A crazy suggestion. But the one place they won't be visiting, of course, Phil, is America, because America, I mean, there's a lot of good food in America, but cheese is not one of them.
Oh, the cheese is terrible there.
They don't get it. They just don't understand.
It tastes like...
it's absolutely sure. It tastes like rubber. It's horrible.
It's just... Well, actually, I was going to say it tastes like soap, but it doesn't even have that to add to its credit. It's just like nothing.
No.
And they think it's marvellous.
Yeah.
And the more processed and crap it is, the better they think this cheese is. It's just awful. It's very odd.
Not
it's like their chocolate. Their chocolate is pants. Sorry. Absolute pants. They haven't a clue how to make chocolate or cheese.
Absolutely.
Everything else, brilliant.
The milk, I'm not sure. Their milk should be the same as our milk.
Milk's
but
kind of the same.
I don't know.
Milk's kind of the same, but you can get I've never seen any. I went with the lovely late Shirley Green. We used to go shopping together because it amused us. And she said, I've got to get a few things. So we went, and I did this video of just the milk aisle. And you think, this country has no idea how spoilt it really is. It has not a clue. Not a clue. There we go.
Right.
Can I get you off track for a second? Can I get you? Would you mind? It's not a trick question. It's just that you lived. I've been there a lot. Phil likes it there. You lived there and worked there and everything like this.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with TV. And if you don't want to go there, just say, Russ, I just want to stick to Ray while we're on the show. The raid on Mar-a-Lago by the FBI Do you think, I'm not going to say what I think, do you think that was the match that has reignited Republicans and brought them all together and just made the Donald think, sod this, I'm going to run again?
Well, it's a very interesting article by the British journalist Cathy Kay, who used to be a staffer at the BBC, and I think she left the BBC about a couple of years ago. She used to do a double act with Christian Fraser, who used to be the Paris correspondent for the BBC, and they used to do a sort of a weekly show from, or was it a nightly show from the US? I can't quite remember. Anyway, she wrote this very article what the suggestion that you're positing, which is that actually all of those people who were pro-Trump anyway are going to get reinvigorated by the fact that he is on the back foot and that this government needs to be taken down, and he is the only person to come back and to put the government back on the straight and narrow. So I'm not sure is the simple answer. I was quite astonished about the raid. It all feels as though it's coming terribly late.
Yeah.
I mean, why are they raiding his home?
What do they expect to find? Number one, do they think there's going to be nuclear code in Melania's clothes closet? I mean, this is just nonsense.
Yeah.
And it was so heavy-handed. If you watch the proper, there's boats which are armed patrolling, there's helicopters, there's God knows how many vehicles.
Yeah.
He's not leading a Colombian drug cartel. He's not whatever you may think he's the worst person in the world or you love him, whatever. He's not a terrorist. He hasn't been plotting.
Though I do have to say that you can't deny, and this is coming from someone who actually still wishes Trump was in the White House, believe me, but you can't deny he didn't exactly behave like any previous president ever did in our lifetimes. And that must have aroused some suspicion.
Yeah, but he never said he would. That's why he got in. He said, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I'm going to run this like a business.
Yeah, but there should be governance. If you're running a business, you have to adhere to
I agree with you. No, I agree with you.
And you can't, even if you're president, suddenly decide that something that is top secret is no longer top secret. I mean, yes, he's got the power to do it, which I think is crazy anyway, but he had to go through a process to declassify all of those papers. He didn't. He just said, they're now declassified, and that's what I'm sticking to. But unless you fill out the forms and it gets registered as a declassified document, it is still top secret. So actually, I mean, that's riding roughshod of all the rules, and you can't do that whether you're running a business or you're running a country. I mean, it's really, it's either slapdash behavior or it's basically a V sign to everybody else going, I'm just doing this my way and to hell with all of you.
But, there's a level of delusional behavior which goes across the board, which goes completely across the board. So when Liz Cheney was absolutely thrashed, just eviscerated at this election this week, she says, well, I'm thinking of she's asked, are you going to run for president? She says, well, I'm thinking about it. So it's like, what?
Yeah.
You've been shown no one likes you. You've been thrown out by your own party hugely. Now you're going to try and run for president. What is going through your mind?
Yeah. And of course, it's all about money. She'll only be able to do that if she's got the financial backing. Without the financial backing, you can't do it. It's so different to our country where they try to prevent you from spending money.
Oh, yeah.
In America, it is all about the big power base that you've got behind you and the amount of advertising you can buy to convince people.
Well, she's got dad's money. Let's not dodge the issue.
Yes, but that isn't that everything to do with American politics? Is whoever's got the money gets higher up the train.
Sorry, I know it's a digression. I apologize. I didn't mean to ambush you with that, but I'm really interested. And just my own view for what it's worth, I thought it was a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Well, of course, Trump's CFO is going to spend at least 100 days in jail because of defrauding his own taxes, which is. So, clearly he was a man who was playing fast and loose when he was working for the Trump organization.
It's the bottom line really comes across is they're all just terrible people. I mean, you've met him. They're all just terrible people.
I have been in Trump Tower and I've been outside the office of Weisselberg, his CFO, his chief financial officer. And actually, overheard a conversation between the two of them, which I won't report, but it was truly shocking in nature. But that was a very long time ago. It's one of those things that's gone into the Chantal Ricard's lockbox.
Yes. It is extraordinary, because in these troubled times, which is why entertainment and why what you do every week is so important, we just need some light relief, because it's so unremittingly dark. And you look for someone to sort of, you think they could be a leader, or they could help, or they've got an idea, or they've got a clue, or they've got a plan. Nobody at all, anywhere.
Anyway,
Same thing here. Nobody. It's horrible. Right.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Back on track. What
no,
else? What
I'm
else?
not sure that the program I was going to talk about next is really the right one, because although most television programs are entertaining, and this is entertaining in a different way, it's a really rubbish subject. It's a very dark subject. Again, it's part of how the internet is taking over, and dreadful crimes that are perpetrated through the internet. But it came under the title of The Most Hated Man on the Internet. And I sort of couldn't not watch it.
That's great.
It's made by the people who made The Tinder Swindler and the other TV show, I don't know if you remember it, which was called Don't F with Cats.
Yes, that was an extraordinary program.
They're called Raw Television, British documentary makers that have been around for about 20 years. A very, very good company. Anyway, they have made this program. There are 3 1-hours about the most hated man on the internet, who was actually, they call him the king of revenge porn. He created an internet site that was basically using lots of photographs of young women, either scantily clad or with no clothes on. It then degenerated even further into being an internet site for obscenities of all types, but mainly of a sexual nature. And a lot of the content that he uses had been stolen. And the mother of one of the girls who appears on this website, and this girl had taken a photograph of herself without her top on. She hadn't posted it anywhere. She'd sent it in an email to herself. So it had never left her own part of the internet world, but it had been stolen off the internet because someone got into her emails. And the mother, who's this extraordinary woman called Scarlet, who's based in Orange County in California, who's married to a British lawyer, decides she is going to take on this extraordinary character called Hunter Moore, and she is going to bring him down. And actually, you have to follow it through.
I like the sound of her.
Yeah, she is a class act, I can tell you. They've got wonderful access to both Charlotte's laws, to the husband who was very worried about, taking on this guy so publicly, and the daughter, and many other people who were completely and utterly ruined by content of them that had got up on site. This extraordinary website that was then eventually taken down. But you absolutely, if you love this sort of telly, this is great. But it's it's a tough subject, and the subject matter just depresses you because you just hate the idea that there's somebody out there abusing all these people on the internet. So the internet can be a really terrible place. But
absolutely, it's absolutely. I work on the basis of whatever I write on Twitter, on Facebook, and my emails, and on WhatsApp. If it was read out in court, it would be fine. And that's how I live my life. Yeah. I don't ever write anything that if it was read out, they'd go, aha, but I won't do it. I might think it, but it'll never be in writing. You'll never see it, ever. Mm-hmm. Because that's the horrible world in which we live. And you never know. 1 minute somebody's your friend, and then somebody comes along and twists and turns and does horrendous things because they can make a few bob out of it, or you hack them off or whatever. It's just got to be so careful, so careful. I guess the question I have for you, Chantal, is people, young girls are absolutely entitled to take whatever photos they want of themselves. They can do what they want. You can't legislate. Why shouldn't they? Why shouldn't they? But you have to ask kind of why. The kind of ego thing, or maybe they want a record of how they, how they look, and you think, well, I look great then.
I don't think
Who
that.
knows?
I think it's the heat of the moment. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
think anyone
hopefully-
thinks of the long-term consequences. I think it's heat of the moment, and then that's it.
Huh. Okay. Probably right. You're probably right.
I mean, it does seem like it's a new phenomenon, because certainly when I was growing up, I mean, we didn't all have cameras other than a sort of, Instamatic or something, or a Polaroids were just coming in, but they cost so much money.
Oh yeah, they're crazy.
But it wasn't something that we all were doing. I was at a girls' boarding school, and we weren't all taking photographs either of ourselves or each other. And I was in a very sort of, girly environment. It just wasn't part of what we did as young women growing up. So
I think, to be honest,
You realise
I
you've
don't know if
excited every male listener around the world now. They're thinking, "Geez, I'd
don't
pay
ever
to
think
see
that the
that."
expression "smile for the birdie" would have come along. Believe me.
Yay! It's funny, I remember my uncle, who was the first member of our family to go to America in the 50s, and he'd come back with American gadgets. And of course, in the 50s in England, the early 60s, it might have been the 1930s, everything was still in black and white. It's the way I think of it. And he brought back this camera. So he'd say, "Russell, wait," and he'd take a picture. Not tiny, right? And he says, "Watch." And the picture would emerge, it's a bloody great machine, it's huge. And the picture, me and my mum and dad went, "Oh, look, the photos." It was absolute magic. You say that now, but at the time it was incredible. Incredible. It was pure magic. It was J.K. Rowling. There we go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. Great times. Great and very, very interesting. Right. What else have you seen?
So I've had another noir series, rather good. Who knew anything about the Faroe Isles? I certainly didn't. But the Faroes is the basis of a good 6-part drama that's on BBC 4. BBC 4 buys some really good international drama. And this is made by people in the Faroes. I mean, extraordinary. The backdrop is horrific. It's an incredibly beautiful landscape. And it's about a journalist who comes back to the Faroe Islands to find out that he has a daughter on the island who he didn't even know existed. And that's basic. That's
bit awkward.
Right at the beginning of the show, and you go, "Okay, where are we going from here?" And she had emailed him, she'd sent him a little video saying, "I've got involved in something. I want to expose some bad stuff that's going on in the Faroes. Please, will you come back from America to help expose this bad stuff?" You don't know what it is. There are so many different strands coming in it. Is it about mining? Is it about whaling? Is it about land rights? Is it about bent coppers? And you're really not quite sure why this young woman has asked for her father to come back from America. But it's a very good series. It's 6 parts. BBC 4, open to everybody, to all of those people who can get the BBC, both here and overseas. And it's worth watching. Very, very good lead actors.
And it's called?
Trom, Trom. And it's on, BBC 4. Very easy to watch, very well put together, nice scripts. Clearly, I'm watching it in subtitles, but it's a good one. It's something that I.
So, what language is it in then?
Norwegian.
I didn't even know whether
in the background there, Russ.
I think Norwegian. Now you're asking me a difficult question. Anyway.
That is the sound of the fan on my computer, and I've got the microphone standing on. It's so loud. There's no fan. It's just the sound of the laptop. And taking your advice, young Phil, as you know, I bought a new physical fans underneath it to keep it cool. Wow, it's just so damn loud. That's why I keep switching my mic off.
Yeah. I've had a bad week with laptops because I left my window open. I had a day trip down to Southampton.
No.
My laptop,
no.
There was clearly a rainstorm in London.
Oh, good gracious.
Which I didn't see, and realised when I got to my desk on Thursday morning that everything on the desk was absolutely sodden, including my laptop, which won't work. So it's been in the airing cupboard all night.
I was going to say airing cupboard's the first thing to do with it, definitely.
been in the airing cupboard. So the keyboard's not working. The material is there, the mouse is working, but the keyboard is just completely packed up.
So, Chantal, I know it's annoying, but one thing you may want to consider then in that case is rather than having to worry about whether or not you've lost everything because of not having the keyboard working, is if you get an external USB keyboard and just plug it into the laptop, it should recognize it. You should be able to carry on using it.
Okay, I tried that earlier on, didn't work.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's something else going on, and I've now rebooted the whole thing and restarted it. That hasn't worked. Anyway, if anybody's got any ideas, send them over. So the last thing I want to do is have to go out and buy a brand new laptop. It'll be infuriating.
It is infuriating. Well, Phil knows that I had huge problems and they had to rebuild all the sections of mine. Leslie says this: I think most young people think the photos they take are ephemeral. They don't think the photos will be around forever because they don't think about immortality. Why would they? Quite right. I'm feeling horrible. I'll be absolutely honest. I'm feeling horribly mortal.
Horribly mortal?
Yeah, I do. I feel horribly mortal. You know, it just does. This stupid fall, which broke my hand, as you know, and that's the best I can do. This finger's completely ruined. It just really, I mean, you know, we're about mental health, and it's just really, you know, I'm walking so carefully. I'm like thinking, I don't want to be this, I don't want to be this guy.
Yeah.
And it's it's horrible.
It's physical vulnerability as well as mental vulnerability.
Yeah, it's physical.
This just doesn't feel like me anymore. It's
that's exactly how I felt. Leslie's saying, back to your laptop, which is far more important than my stupid finger. Laptop too big to put in a bowl of rice, she says. Good question, actually.
A bowl of rice, and it would have to be a big bowl of rice, but I could.
You know what? I'm not joking. Like a baking tray, or like you know, like an oven tray, and just clean it up, fill it with rice, see if that works. That's not a terrible idea, is it? I don't know. I'm trying here. Don't switch the oven on though. Don't think I'll speed things along a bit. I'll put the oven on. Absolutely hopeless.
Serve it with HP sauce.
That'll be. Oh, come on. That's good.
Thank you.
That's very good. Is this noise any better, Phil?
The noise is much better. Thank you. Yes.
This is like some sort of.
And maybe actually it could be a laptop with a side of chips. I'll keep going until I find one you like. Don't worry.
You like them all. They're very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
This reminds me. I'm standing
here all week.
Do you remember
Fife at least for the next 2.5 minutes.
Does everybody remember Fife Robertson? You're too young, Chantal.
Yes.
What did you do? What? Sorry.
Yeah. Shut up. But your mum will know. I'm standing here outside Dunfermline Castle, and he was like an absolute staple of the BBC, wasn't he? Fife Robertson's great. There we are. Right, time for a quickie, if you'll forgive the expression.
Quickly, if you haven't seen The Mule, this is just to make you feel better about life and elderly people out there still rocking it. BBC are re-showing something called The Mule with Clint Eastwood. Came out in 2018. It's the true story of a 90-year-old drug mule, an American World War II veteran, played by Clint Eastwood, who actually became a drug mule. So it's an interesting story. He plays it beautifully. It's rather understated. When it came out to generally positive reviews. But it's just lovely watching Clint Eastwood because he's such a pro. There won't be many more films in him. He's now in his very late 80s, I think. But it's there on the BBC, on the film site at the moment. So easy to access and worth a watch.
And the thing about Clint Eastwood is he has that extraordinary charisma. When he's on screen, you cannot take your eyes off him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a lot of the modern, it just goes over my head. But him, there's this, even if he's doing nothing, he seems to be doing so much. Like Steve McQueen. Yeah, he is absolutely one of the great. Yeah. Chantal, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chantal.
You've been great as always. And good luck with your laptop.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Posted.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's it, folks, for another week. Phil, you look great. Your flat looks fabulous. See, I can be nice.
Yeah.
I can be nice. I don't.
Who are you and what have you done with the Raw Ross Kane?
I don't know. He's in a box somewhere. He's just been
gracious me.
Kidnapped by Guatemalan rebels. That's it, gang. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll be back with Neil Long in a special interesting trying a new location. So we'll see you
Ooh.
Monday. Yeah, it's quite fun.
The intrigue knows no bounds. Have a good
If I can get-
weekend.
Have a lovely weekend. Bye, gang. Bye-bye.